Hello, I am Phil Scott. I am a Sitecore employee. Don't know the name tag for you. Or at least I was a Sitecore employee until I started this presentation. Looking over at Simon's direction over there. Thanks, boss. I'm here today to talk to you a bit about our technology partners. In the room with many of you today, we have our implementation partners, the guys who go out there and do all the hard work and make our visions and your visions reality. But we also have tech partners, and these are slightly different. These are different vendors of different technologies around that we contract with and partner with globally. To put it in context a little bit, the CMO now, as opposed to a few years ago, has, and you guys as marketers as well, have more choice in terms of technology available to you than you ever have done in the past before. And to illustrate that a little bit, I've got this lovely slide. What? Look at that. It's huge, right? There's plenty of different technology vendors out there at the moment. Sitecore actually appear somewhere just down in the bottom right here. But in reality and in truth, with much of what the guys have covered off today in terms of DMS capabilities and John with talking about the various frameworks we have in place, we touch in many other boxes in there. And somewhere we don't touch, we would choose to partner with industry experts, technology partners, making this whole landscape a lot more easy to navigate for you guys. So, why do we partner? Why do we find tech partners? Well, it says up on the slide there that tech partners add strategic value, which is very true. Tech partners give us and our customers the most flexible solution footprint. Absolutely true as well. Tech partners bring valuable domain expertise, and tech partners allow us more ways to help you own the experience. Make sure we get the marketing tagline in there of own the experience. But Sitecore prides itself on being able to provide this connected platform. This is one of our key strengths, and it's why we have such a strong development community, many of whom sat around today here as your partners. You may have seen, or at least your partners will, and you've heard John talk about earlier, the various different frameworks that we have within Sitecore that allow people to integrate into the platform to bring this one connected environment. Frameworks like the SES, the Sitecore e-commerce framework, like the media framework where guys like Uyala, Stream UK and Brightcove will all build integrations to. And the search framework where we've got guys like Coveo who are building search integration. It's these that you'll see us building a lot upon over the next few years, allowing you guys to have more robust integrations, to be able to make that landscape that we showed up earlier a lot more easy to navigate, a lot more less complex. So throughout the presentation, I'm going to concentrate on, I've just got to say, this is my 4th business user group, and this is the most slides I've ever clicked through. It's fantastic. I normally always forget. I've had Steve in there, like a guy from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, coughing every time I need to click on. I just felt like I needed to share that with you. But I'm going to concentrate on 4 different topics today. I'm going to look at what we offer in commerce-wise, search-wise, translation, and community. And first up, I want to set a bit of context around it and some of the trends that we at Sitecore and some of the opportunities that we believe are going to be out there throughout 2014. Before I head on to some of the vendors I will cover off in more detail than others, but I want to get these trends out there and really get you make some thought-provoking ideas for what you can expect to see. So firstly, we've got up there mobile commerce, and mobile revenue is growing. In some cases, it's outpacing traditional channels. More retailers are now supplementing their smartphone apps and mobile websites with tablet-centric initiatives, which are showing better conversion rates. And that's really interesting, and the same sort of applies to the second point that's up there in terms of B2B. The quote that we have from Forrester there is 69% of B2B companies across the globe expect to stop publishing print catalogues within 5 years, and that 41% of B2B companies now sell directly against their own wholesalers, distributors, and suppliers. Another trend that we're going to expect to see, that supply chains are getting shorter in the B2B world. You can look at someone like Amazon, who have now Amazon Supply, which is set up in beta format. I think they sell absolutely everything, not that Amazon doesn't anyway, but initiatives like these are showing that there's better easy for me to say, disintermediation. Wow. Disintermediation, or in other words, cutting out the middleman in these processes. So we're going to see a lot more of those trends coming through as B2B organisations mature. Commerce globalisation. Manchester City, the guys there, Jamie spoke about their globalization strategy and what they did. And that's something we're going to see a lot more. And when we look at translation throughout this presentation, we'll see how globalization can work for everyone and why it needs to kind of get there. Emerging market internet use has reached critical mass and is driving demand from India and China. Brands have the opportunity to start exploring these regions. If you don't, you run the risk of losing some of your market share. This is absolutely key, and some of these sort of westernized commerce globalization elements, things like, as on the last bullet point there, you've got Black Friday and Cyber Monday. These are starting to go global now and are making new records in terms of sales on these days. And it's planning for these shopping dates that can be absolutely key to you as organizations. The Singles Day there I like, especially with Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow. That's quite apt. But in China, it generated more e-commerce revenue than any other online shopping day in the world. That's incredible, right? That's just absolutely incredible. So what solutions do we have? Well, John mentioned earlier about Sitecore's acquisition of Microsoft, of the commerce server. We're all very excited about that, and we expect to be able to talk a lot more about it when we're told by John that we can. But no, we expect to hear a lot more later on this year, and we will certainly be communicating a lot of this out. But we have also other current commerce partners, guys like Insight. These are one of our oldest tech partners, and they've now got around 37 joint customers globally. They've recently joined the Forrester Wave and been implemented as a strong performer. So these guys really know their stuff. They can handle complex pricing models and custom price lists, the price lists, as well as reorder functionality. It does lend themselves to B2B interactions, but looking at the 37 customer bases that we've got globally, there is a pretty fair split between B2C and B2B with Insight. So a very strong product. Moving down the list there, we've got Znode, relatively new commerce partner, but they have impressed our integration services team with some real quality integrations into Sitecore. Through SES, again, all of these e-commerce guys are going through the SES integration framework. They've most recently been recognised on the Gartner e-commerce vendor guide in 2014. I would position these guys as a broad all-rounder, as we put in there. They'll cover B2B, B2C, broad all-rounders. And finally, we've got Ucommerce. Very good reputation in the open source world with Umbraco. Some of your partners may have come across them in the past, may have worked with them in the past. They've now released an enterprise version of their product and have partnered with Sitecore to have an enterprise integration with that. So we're really pleased about that as well. And these guys are a regional partner around the European. Search, trends to watch in search. So search is an area that Sitecore has really been pushing the boundaries. Sitecore 7, Steve mentioned in his opening lines up there, has seen huge uptake. And that's in no valid part to Sitecore 7 Search, the Lucene Solar piece. It's really pushing the boundaries, and there is a need to ultimately get people on your web search, get them to the content quicker, improving that whole customer experience. People are coming to your site with intent, with an objective that's getting them to that content quicker. So it's all about this customer experience. Recent studies point to the majority of websites visitors preferring the brands that use personal information to improve the customer experience. So not just any search, but making that search personal. Maybe tying it in with something like the DMS, using the DMS database to empower that search, make it a lot more relevant, get rid of all the noise that is around in these big sites at the moment. Search is one of the most used functions on a website and signals their intent: navigational, informational, transactional. And the last point there goes back to the DMS piece again about behavioral awareness. So who do we have as a tech partner in the search world? We have Coveo, and these are the first alternative provider to the Lucene Solar for use with Sitecore 7 search frameworks. These are guys that are the first ones who have built into this search framework. And these are a genuine enterprise search provider. They can go across any of your on-premise cloud systems that you have. Really powerful. And it's worth keeping an eye on these as well. They're able to, the ability to create manage search results pages through the Sitecore page editor UI to look at things like pagination, the faceted searches, the amount of results that are coming back. Puts that control back into the marketers. Please do not empty your dog here. I added this slide earlier because Jamie mentioned about having translation and the fact that it's not just about translating word for word now, it's about having that local context. And that is so easy to mess up as, well, I think they've messed it up anyway. It could be quite a legitimate site, I guess. But it is easy to mess up. And it can be damaging if you do mess up that translation. So it's very important. It was really pleasing to see the Man City guys talk about that when they talked about their global strategy going out to, was it 13 different languages, 16? 13 different languages. And it's getting that translation right is incredibly important. Some of the other things we're going to see is, again, heading down that globalization route, it's a huge driver for translation. Translation alone can't just deliver great customer experience. It needs to be coupled with cultural sensitivity and market-relevant offers. Some of the low-hanging fruit around here is carrying out multilingual SEO programs to ensure content is high in the search and across all languages. The Common Sense Advisory, a market research company focused on helping companies grow their international business. They came out with some quite incredible figures really around globalization, that there is an addressable market of $45.1 trillion. That number doesn't even compute in my small brain, I'm afraid. It's just too massive. And that's from 2.4 billion people across 116 digital languages. That's huge, absolutely huge. And there's a huge latent opportunity there as well. And the trend will just continue to accelerate as smartphone and tablet adoptions, as we mentioned in virtually every presentation we've had so far, as that adoption levels are on the increase, then access to your digital world just becomes even more, and therefore access to other language becomes even more. And even my mum's got a smartphone now. Well, it's hers. Technically, I'll teach her how to use it, but it is hers. There was a recent study, the World Online Wallet numbers indicated the total audience for Chinese simplified is now greater than that for English. That's brilliant. While the wallet size has not yet caught up in these emerging markets, it's bound to with the adoption of technology that you're getting through these countries. The wallet size will then catch up. And it's a market that really, if you are looking at globalization trend, you can't ignore. It's there. Social media is the second point. It says marketing on social media isn't just in English. Managing translations across different and diverse networks gets complex really quickly and in real-time world. Continually and grow and diversify presents new challenges and opportunities for marketers, but additionally across different geographies. The digital translation world is getting API'd really quickly as well. We heard earlier, and we'll go on to some of our solution providers in a bit, but we heard about Man City using a Clay tablet. That is basically, it's a hook into Sitecore's translation services that then via an API can hook into any translation provider. That means there's choice out there. You're not just stuck with one translation provider for life. You can go to as many as you like and just hook that into API. So it just becomes a lot easier, and rather than users manually going in and doing this translation and becoming very word heavy, they're able to spend more time doing the more interesting stuff and spend more time just sanity checking and making sure it's okay, and not ending up with please do not empty your dog here, but ended up with relevant translations. Okay. So what solutions do we have? Well, we have the Sitecore App Center, available through the Sitecore desktop UI on your installations. The App Center is where you would go in and sign up for your MTAs, for your email campaign management, but it's also where you can use LanguageWire, who are one of our solution partners. It's useful for small translation jobs, and it offers a massive convenience of being able to just purchase from within Sitecore. It's really good. They've got plenty of, we've got a couple of guys using it in the UK and more globally, but a really nice provider for these small translation jobs. Second one, Clay Tablet, we've already spoken about, but it's software as a service, offering content translation management. And finally, we've got Lionbridge, who are our provider. Now, they hook into Clay Tablet, which then in turn hooks into Sitecore. Lionbridge are a massive provider. One of the figures you got there is they've got a pre-qualified crowd of 25,000 translations over a cloud delivery platform. Translators, sorry, over a cloud delivery platform. So it's a huge amount of local knowledge. What they're also able to do, along with the language guys, is they have market and sector experience and expertise. Jamie mentioned it again, that was really important to the Man City guys. Having the guys who understood the club, and the video that they showed at the beginning shows that it's not just a football club, it's a passion, it's a way of life. If you're a football fan, I guess. If you're not, then it's just a sad way of life. No offense, Jamie, but it is a way of life to many people. So making sure that translation and the people who are translating understand your business is key, and LanguageWire and Lionbridge provide both of that. So we head into community. There's some really interesting stats around here as well, if I find the right slide. So we're going to see, one of the trends that we're going to see is the CMO is going to be putting dedicated investment towards social media and community. And as a necessity rather than a luxury, CMOs are going to be spending a lot more time, and it's not just because it's a nice to have for their brand, but because they have to. It can't be ignored anymore, and that's something we're going to see a lot more of. We all know what the benefits of social media are. Improved social signals, which along with the Hummingbird release of Google are going to become more and more important. They're going to need to have blogs and forums. It's not just going to be such a strain on keywords. There's going to be more focus on this user-generated content in terms of your rankings. But also company branding, improved brand awareness, word-of-mouth advertising, all very important and powerful vehicles for your brand. Semantic search is the thing in now at the moment, by which a search engine can grasp the meaning of a search query in its contextual situation. And this again goes back to the Hummingbird release by Google. It means keywords are not the only thing that a website needs to focus on. Delivering focused content on each of its pages. Content such as descriptive tutorials, how-to guides, long articles, blogs, forums, more than 1,000 words will become the norm, and that's what we'll expect to see over the next year. Finally, Forrester reported earlier in 2013 that there's been an increase of 25% in community usage for customer service. If any of you guys have come across the GIFGAF network, that is all about self-service. It's the network that you own. It's all about self-service, and this can all be done through communities. You see more and more people reducing overheads by having this concept of self-service. People like BT do it. It's going in and helping yourself. Well, frankly, you might get better answers if I went out, but Sitecore do it well. We have big developer communities, and it's all about self-service. It's going to be really key over the coming years. So who do we have here? We have Zimbra, not the Brazilian dance exercise, which I was going to do a live demo of that, but I figured that would be pretty bad for everyone to watch. But we have Zimbra, formerly known as Telligent. Still Telligent really in Europe, but globally Zimbra. And what this brings and enables you to do is build your own social network using Sitecore and Zimbra. User-generated content by its nature isn't structured. It doesn't necessarily lend itself into what Sitecore CMS will provide. You don't want to necessarily have task workflows on user-generated content. You just want it to flow. And this is where Telligent comes in. Now, Telligent will hook into Sitecore and it's a full platform, but we also have the social starter kit, which I think we've mentioned earlier on today, and we'll certainly see more of as well. But this is really, if you're looking as an organization to dip your toe into the world of community, the social starter kit can certainly help. It's a full Telligent Zimbra functionality, just with limited blogs, limited number of blogs and forums. Good entry price, good way of having a proof of concept. Try and get that business buy-in. Really, really nice way of getting that message back out there. And then in terms of upgrading to the full Telligent platform, it's just a case of all the integration work's been done and you swap out a license key. So really, really powerful stuff. And just finally on the end there, optional Telligent analytics. One point to me, I met with the Telligent guys recently, and he said to me, and I liked it because I like to get film analogies into some of my presentations, but he said to me, I said, what's the most important thing when you're looking at communities? He said, don't just build one if you don't know that you've got one. And if you build an intelligence, he said, it's not Field of Dreams, which I thought was great because I love that film. He said, it's not Field of Dreams. It's not a case of if you build it, they will come. You need to be aware that you're going to have some kind of community out there that you can access. And if you're not aware, then something like the Social Starter Kit can be absolutely perfect for that. That is that dipping the toe in the water of community. And that's me. Any questions or anything? Excellent. Thank you very much.